transfer market is absolutely insane, and nothing has demonstrated that quite as well as the past 24 hours with Chelsea and Liverpool fighting over players. In this video I'm going to talk about what Chelsea need, what Liverpool need, and how that all clashed into a £100 million fistfight. First up, I'm going to talk about Liverpool. Sorry Chelsea fans, you'll get your turn in a couple of minutes. Liverpool have been doing a complete midfield rebuild this season. They've got Szoboszlai in, they've got McAllister in, they've lost the likes of Henderson and Fabinho, and now they just sort of need to add someone defensive to that mix. Now their first real big name on the list has been Romeo Lavia. They've been looking at the Southampton player, considering messing about with maybe a £50 million bid. They've gone to something like 43, then 45, then 47, something like that. They don't want to go to Southampton's full asking price of £50 million. Now, that sort of makes sense. Lavia got relegated in his only season of senior football so far, but he's still a really good star. He's English, so he goes through a homegrown quota, and yeah, I can see why Southampton want to charge that. It has to be said that the clause they have with Man City helps as well. Man City have a buyback clause for either 40 or 50 million next summer, I can't quite remember which, but that means that they have a good idea of what his value is and they can keep it there assuming he has a good year in the Championship. Another player on Liverpool's list is Moises Caicedo. Now, you might know him from a different transfer saga, and that's where Chelsea come in. Chelsea have been spending a hell of a lot of money over the past 2 years on a lot of young talent that's going to come through and eventually, hopefully, build a Champions League winning team. I'm not saying hopefully from my point of view, I'm not the biggest Chelsea fan. And that went okay last season. They got good players in. Enzo Fernandez would be one really good example, but they don't have a firm defensive midfielder to pair him with. There's not a double pivot there. There's Enzo Fernandez and a push, sometimes Conor Gallagher. And that's where Chelsea want to make another move. They have also been looking at Moises Caicedo and discussing it with Brighton for quite a while now. Brighton aren't in a position where they need to sell. They've got a long contract on Caicedo, and they only paid £4 million for him in 2021. This is where the bids get a little bit crazy. It's worth noting as well that Chelsea have been looking at Leeds United star Tyler Adams for £20 million. We'll get back to that one a little bit later. At some point a couple of days ago, Liverpool decided to finally bite the bullet and made a move for Moises Caicedo. Now that didn't quite temper Brighton's expectations enough, but Chelsea were made aware of it and they made a bid for Lavia at the same time. Then we get to last night as we're recording. I don't know when you're watching this, but it's a very, very quickly evolving story. Last night we were told that Brighton were going to listen to two offers, one from Liverpool, one from Chelsea, and the bigger offer would get accepted. Liverpool bid £110 million, which would make Moises Caicedo the fourth most expensive footballer of all time. This transfer window is bonkers. And it sort of makes sense because we've got brand new owners that finally want to see success in Todd Boehly and Liverpool, who are desperately rebuilding and need one position. It's a supply and demand thing. There is an obscene amount of demand and not that much supply for world-class defensive midfielders. Now, Brighton would have probably accepted this bid, but Moises Caicedo didn't. He still wanted Chelsea, and that's where we are right now. Chelsea look like they're going to increase their bid, but that means they're going to have a lot less money for other deals, which means that the Tyler Adams move from Leeds United is off because Chelsea don't have a spare £20 million anymore. This entire thing is bonkers, and it could ruin the entire transfer market for everyone. It's two clubs desperately fighting over one player that's going to make a mess for Lavia and Tyler Adams. I just feel like the club that doesn't get Caicedo will choose to get the other two. Honestly, it's kind of an achievement that Harry Kane got sold for £100 million, and that wasn't even the most dramatic transfer story of the day. Ultimately, it's an insanely quickly evolving story, and it's easy to see why. The season starts this evening when Man City play against Burnley, and teams sort of want every single player they have to be available for as long as possible. There's no point waiting until deadline day, because then you've got deadline day and a couple of weeks of adapting. Chelsea and Liverpool see Caicedo as someone that they can take on and start immediately, and if they want him for the entire campaign, they need to get business done now. Issue is, Brighton have made themselves hard to deal with. What do I think will happen? I reckon Caicedo ends up going to Chelsea. Liverpool end up stumping the £50 million for Lavia. Maybe Tyler Adams goes to one of those, or even Brighton as Caicedo's replacement. It's a crazy situation, and who knows what's going to happen. Comment below what you think's going to happen in spite of all that, because we might as well have our predictions. Like the video and subscribe. See you later.